All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday Wellness. I'm Eileen Whipple, and I am your hostess tonight. We are talking about health freedom through the environment. And the reason why I am so passionate about this is because when I had my health struggles, I stopped doing everything. I stopped wearing makeup. I stopped as many chemicals as I could. And that's before I even got educated on all of this. I was just like, oh my gosh, I've just got to cut back and figure out what is going on. So what I'm going to share with you tonight is 24 years of investigating, learning, and that's what I'm going to share. There's many things that you can do. These are the things I'm choosing to do that might be helpful for you in your health. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen here for a minute. Okay, so tonight we've already talked about EMFs, we've talked about personal care, and we've talked about water. So now we're going to start talking about cleaning and toxic versus untoxic. And just a quick review, genetic versus environmental. It is now believed that 95% of our health is environmentally influenced, leaving only 5% for genetics. So that's why we need to focus on this so much, because that means we have so much control over the aches and the pains and the chronic conditions and things that we live with every day that's reducing our vitality of life. I want to start with an example. So look at this beautiful ocean. This is New Zealand. Doesn't that look fantastic? Like you just want to jump in the water? Well, these are all jellyfish. Do you still want to jump in the water? So not all of the water is toxic, not all the water has the jellyfish, but they are concentrated in this area. So would you want to jump in it? And I think you would if you were protected and you had things that you knew that you could deal with being with the jellyfish, right? But is it something that you would get rid of all the other environmental things so you can stay with the jellyfish, or you're going to come up and breathe for air? And that compares to your health. Because we do all these things, we change our diet, we start eating the organic foods, we start doing emotional work. But you know what? We don't change the chemicals. We don't change our water. We don't change the little things that are causing that cumulative effect of your health. So did you know this? 85,000 chemicals have been introduced since the Industrial Revolution. There are 3 ways they enter the body: the skin, the nose, and the mouth. Those are 3 of the ways, right? This is insane. Well, check this out. Less than a minute from your intake, it goes into your bloodstream. Boom. And 60% of skin contact is absorbed immediately, and your forehead and your scalp is 4 times faster. Now, last week we talked about children, and we talked about how they were more susceptible to the EMFs. Well, here we are with the toxins. 40 to 50% faster do the children absorb the toxins than adults. We need to be aware of this. And how do we know all of this? Is because they took umbilical cords in 2005 and they tested them for only 400 of those 28,000 toxins. They found 287 toxins. That's over half of the toxins they tested for. You guys, this is evident. It is all over the place. This is what we need to be focused on, is reducing these toxins so that we can have our quality of life that we want. Where are these toxins? They are all around us. They're in our homes, they're at our work, and they are in our stores. What do we need to do? And why do we keep choosing them? And this is why I want to focus on just one aspect of the toxic effects of this, and that is the thyroid. And I'm going to stop share for a minute. I'm going to have Christine Libert share her experience with her thyroid, because I think it has a lot to do with what we're talking about tonight.
I don't remember how many years ago. I'm going to say like 6, 7 years ago, October. I feel like all of a sudden I've got this sock in my throat, and it would never go away. 24/7 I had. So what I understand is it was swollen in here, and I didn't understand why. Now I live in Florida, and when I go to Phoenix to visit Eileen, I will go to Dr. Brett Brimhall. And I lived with this until I got there the next summer with this sock feeling in my throat. And what he explained to me was my thyroid was swollen, trying to grab onto any iodine that was in my diet, because all the little receptor sites that grab the iron, the iodine, which you need for multiple processes in your body, had been already grabbed by chlorine, bromine or bromide, and fluoride. So they're chemically very similar, just like a twin sister or twin brother to iodine. Now, mind you, Eileen and I have been doing health stuff for years, but I hadn't cleaned up the house water as well as I do now. And we hadn't had toothpaste with fluoride in it for like, I don't know, 2 decades. But the bromine, I didn't know anything about it, and come to realize that all the foam, whether you buy a new car, a new couch, all the foam that's in our life emits that off-gassing of bromine for a year or two. So you buy a new car and you sit in that hot car, and guess what you're breathing? And it's filling up your thyroid. So I had, and I don't think you can tell, but this big, huge lump. And it's the precursor to thyroid cancer, which a lot of people have. Now, thank heavens, Dr. Brett had access to some chelation drops that I took for a long time. And it has shrunk down to where nobody notices it unless I do this and stretch my neck. So I just was not aware of another layer of chemicals that I was just sitting right in the midst of.
Excellent. Thank you, Christine. I'm glad that you're feeling well and you never came down with cancer.
And I don't feel like I have a sock in my throat anymore.
Right. It's true.
Honestly, about a year. It took a year.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But the cool thing is that your body could heal. I totally appreciate you sharing that. And thank you. And Chris,
one more. So I live in a 55 and older community. So all kinds of ailments are in my community, and everybody's talking, and thyroid problems are really prevalent. And everybody's run to the doctor and get a pill. So, and I try to share with my experience, and they just kind of scoff at me, and I just go, okay, see you later. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Christine. I appreciate it. And you perfect precursor to things that we're going to be talking about tonight. So the thyroid, like she said, is responsible for hormone production. And so some of the things that she was mentioning was that it absorbs iodine, which is an essential mineral. And for those of you who aren't familiar, essential minerals our bodies don't make. We actually have to get them from the foods around us. And the iodine turns those into hormones for the body function. So your metabolism, your hair growth, energy, hormones, fertility and reproduction, your mood, focus and concentration, body temperature, heart rate, cognitive function, developmental processes are all connected with the thyroid and its ability to work. So you can imagine what it's like when it's out of balance. And we put names to it. You know, we put hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, cancer, and Graves, and all these things. But what can we do to actually help ourselves? We need to identify the chemicals. And as Christine had shared with us, we're going to look at 3 of them tonight. I'm not looking at all of them, but we're going to look at 3, which are chlorine, bromine, and fluoride, and how these inhibit these chemicals when they're in the body. They inhibit that iodine absorption. So you can't have those body functions. And last week we talked about the EMFs. One thing I forgot to mention last week is I do have glasses. All of my glasses have blue light protection on them from the EMFs, because those EMFs they are finding are affecting those thyroids. And so these children who are on the cell phones and the iPads and the television and the computers, and us too, right? We need to protect all of us. So let's dive in to chlorine first. So chlorine, why do we use chlorine? It's bleach and it's antibacterial. Well, is there an alternative? Yes, there is. There's vinegar, there's alcohol, there's a lot of alternatives. But let's look at some of the things that we can find chlorine in. So this is something that it's so logical, but I didn't even think of it. So foods that have been washed or grown with chlorinated water. And of course, we know it's in swimming pools. It's in clothing. You know, the natural color of cotton is actually a little bit of an off yellow. but we're so addicted to that visual of it being crystal clear and white that we bleach things. Diapers, paper products. So have you thought about this? It's your toilet paper, your feminine products, your diapers, your paper towels, all of those things. What are some of the effects of chlorine? Respiratory, digestive, skin, corrosion of teeth, asthma, and cancer. One of the things that if you watched the video a few weeks ago with Mike, who talked about water, respiratory problems, he said all swimmers are coming down with respiratory problems because the chlorine is actually, the off gas is about 16 inches off of the water. So you can imagine they come out of the water, they take a breath, and they're breathing in chlorine. And so they're getting their breath with that chlorine. So they are just being they just have too much. That's what the biggest challenges are. It's all about balance, right? Bromine, it's also a purifier. And Christine can tell you that we went to a lazy river a while back. I mean, we're talking like 10 years ago. And she goes, I can't smell the chlorine in this. And she asked the attendant what was going on. He goes, oh, we changed to bromine. It's more effective. We use less and people can't smell it. Well, that just increased the toxin factor, you guys. And like Christine said, I put the car here on purpose so that I could remember to tell you about the car, but Christine just mentioned that. And so if you get in your car when it is hot, you need to fan out the doors. You need to unroll your windows, let that car cool off. You want to get that smell out of there. So you're not breathing in that bromine. And what are some of the damages from the bromine? Carcinogenic DNA damage, birth defects, cognitive development, kidney damage, hearing loss, plus all the thyroid things. So where do you find bromine? Surprisingly enough, soda pop, Mountain Dew especially, swimming pools, lazy river, dyes, medications, sanitizers, photography, and plastics. Let's go on to our last one, which is fluoride. Fluoride was first marketed as a rat poison, you guys. And it's not that we don't need fluoride. Fluoride is part of coming to us in nature, as you can see by these high foods and fluoride. It's the overuse of it. It's the chemical use of it that's just murdering our bodies. So where do we find the fluoride? And as we're pretty familiar, toothpaste, water, dental supplements. This one, I was shocked. And it's so funny because I knew Prozac was it's like a 12-letter word. It's fluorine glycosinate or something. That's what Prozac is. Prozac is made from fluoride. Okay, just something to think about. So food washed in fluoridated water, foods that are natural occurring in soda, tea made with water. So problems with fluoride overdosing, it's neurotoxicity, skeletal health, bones that just crunch and break, raises oxidative stress, accelerates puberty, and calcifies the pineal gland. None of that's good, guys. None of it. So we're at home and we're in the car. I'm going to touch on these three aspects: air with fresheners and purifiers, cleaning products, and bug repellents. So air fresheners, why do we use them? Because we want to freshen the air, right? We want to be antiviral, antibacterial, and mold. So I'm going to unscreen share to show you a couple of the things that I'm doing in my home. So this is a device that one of my chiropractors recommended. And he said, get the plug-in one, because if you get the rechargeable one, it's just a pain and you just can't keep up with it. But this is antibacterial. It's a UV light, antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-mold. And I recently was in an airport and the handrails on the escalator, they said we could touch them. Why? Because they were being sanitized with UV light. They know how to help us get this all done. Another thing that you can do, and this goes back to a little bit of my story. I started teaching preschool. I was on chemotherapy to suppress my immune system. So I knew I was already highly susceptible to viruses. And, I'm working with preschoolers, 4 years old, guys, and I couldn't do the chemicals. I knew that they were toxic for me. And so what I did, I researched and I found eucalyptus spray. I take my eucalyptus oil, I mix it in water, and it's just a 2% dilution. And this cleans the air 99%. So anytime those little ones would cough, man, I was just spraying it in the air. It's non-toxic. It's not going to hurt anybody. And it cleans up those viruses and bacteria. Another thing that I do when I travel, and also I've been doing this for years, even before COVID, when I went into a grocery store, I'd always come out and wash my hands. So I have a hand purifier, which is from an essential oil. And I bought these little bottles from Amazon. And what I do is I have that in my car. I have it in my purse. I have it everywhere I go. And when someone coughs on the airplane, I pull this out. I put a dab in my hands. I rub them together and I put it over my nose because I'm going to breathe in my essential oils to thwart any of those toxins that may be in the air from someone sneezing or coughing. So those are the things that I'm doing for air purification. Now, this one is huge, cleaning products. And if you can see behind me over here, I've got an entourage of cleaning products. We have laundry, dishes, windows, floors, bathrooms. And because of time, I just put some things on here. So this one says a children warning, and it's got, you can't swallow it. This one, it has no ingredients on it, but it has a warning label on it. And isn't it interesting that some of the products we have don't need ingredients labels? Okay, I'm sure you're familiar with this one. Keep out of the reach of children and pets. If it's not safe for children and pets, it probably isn't safe for you in your house, right? This is one of my favorite ones because it is so bad. So don't ask me why I have these in my house because anyway. So this one says it's flammable, but check this out. This entire side, all of that little print, that is the warning label. That should say, do not buy, do not use, and not create it. So then you may ask yourself, well, what do I do instead? What do I do instead of all of those things? And that's what I want to share with you. So some things that I do instead. For laundry, I have an ionizer ball. For the dryer, I have wool balls. I just bought these soap nuts. They are from Trader Joe's. I think they work. I'm trying them out. I buy 7th generation products that say that they're clean and can work. I also use, this is one of my favorite products. It's called Dissolve It. It does so many things. There's a whole list there of things that it does, but it's essential oils, aloe, and vitamin E. It's awesome. It's an awesome product. Baking soda, vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, rubbing alcohol, household cleaner. This is my household cleaner, and I put that into a spray bottle. So something you want to do if you're not familiar with it, when you use essential oils, if you notice, the essential oils always come in a brown bottle. So if you're going to make a mixture with them on your own, you need to buy brown bottles because that preserves the oils that are in them. And for those of you familiar with the LifeVantage products, they always come with non-clear containers because they need to keep the UV light and the sunlight out of those products. So you just buy yourself some bottles from Amazon or wherever you get your things and have those be your cleaning solutions. So that's what I do in my house for the toilets, for the floors, for the countertops, to keep everything clean and sanitary and keep our house healthy and happy. Now, I want to review with you Think Dirty. We talked about it a few weeks ago. So here's some cleaning products. And even within this range, you've got, let me back up. For those of you not familiar with Think Dirty is a private company that has analyzed thousands of products. They've rated them on a scale of 0 to 10 for their toxicity. So if it's 0 to 3, it's a green and it says that's okay. If it's 4 to 7, it's a yellow and it's like, eh. If it's 8 to 10, it's red and you don't use it. So as you can see, you can type in certain products that have been evaluated by them and you can see what the scale rating for those are. Notice the baking soda is a 0. I know that my dad, oh, it was so I couldn't do it, but he used to take baking soda and salt and that's what he brushed his teeth with. I couldn't do that personally, But you know what? It's a great adhesive, and you can use it on the bottom of your pots and pans. It is a great scrubbing agent. So I just wanted to show you a few of the snapshots I took on the Think Dirty app today. So even within a certain brand of Huggies wipes, we have a 3 for the babies and an 8. And that's something that, even though you think that a product is bad in a company, the company might make a good one. So you do need to check and see what those are. Johnson's baby shampoo, use that all the time. We didn't even keep a thought to it. And that's an 8 on the toxin scale. Plugins for the car. These are all cleaning products. I'm just going to go quickly through this because I know our time goes so quickly. But I wanted you to be aware of where to go for resources so you can get your own answers. So things that I recommend you keep on hand to make your own cleaning products: vinegar, baking soda, vodka, essential oils of eucalyptus, lemon, and purified water, all essential. And I will show you where you can go find some recipes for those. Bug repellents, you guys, killing bugs is huge, especially for us in these hot, humid climates everywhere. So I want to show you what I'm doing for my bugs, because I will not use bug sprays. I don't use them in my yard. I will only use natural things. So my bug guy brought me these glue boards. They're not fancy. They're by the side of all my doors, and it's amazing what they catch, but it's not putting any toxins into my air, and it's not dangerous to my pets. And then this is a blue light. So the manufacturer, this is super interesting, I talked about this last week, recommends that you change this blue light every 6 months because the efficacy of it drops. But what you do is you put a glue board in there, and you close your eyes if you don't want to see this part. But those are just some of the bugs I've caught in the last week in my house. I'm just glad they're not on me. And so all I do is plug that in, and it catches things, and I just clean it out. And so those are 2 of the devices I'm using in my house to take care of the bugs that are non-harmful, that are not going to hurt anybody in our home, including my pets. So that's what I wanted to share with you, Alice. Citronella and lemongrass in your yard is super effective. Please read labels. Check the Think Dirty app and read those warning labels. And if the warning label is very long, guys, it just can't be good. It just cannot be healthy for you. So some resources that I have that I came up with for me to share with you guys: healthycar.com. It was super interesting, great website. The Think Dirty app. DIY, you can find them on web pages. You can find them on Pinterest. You can find them on YouTube. And I even found a TikTok channel today that does all DIY cleaning products. So you can find them wherever you want to try to look for them. And we always want everyone to be well, get well, and stay well. Heal all sides of your triangle, which is emotional, spiritual, and physical. This environment is huge. We want everyone to be healthy and happy and just live a flourishing life. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming here tonight. We're going to stay on and have some question and answers and conversation afterwards. But please come back every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to thank our special guest, Christine Libert, for sharing her thyroid experience. And know that there are things that we can do that are effective. And actually, all this stuff is way less expensive than all of those chemicals, right? So I want you guys all to be healthy and happy. And thank you for coming tonight. And I'll see you next week on Wednesday Wellness. Thanks for watching. And remember, one change can have an enormous effect. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell and the like, and we'll see you next time on Love to Live.